and the kids will make believe cave. What a fun place.
Yep. A lot of cool stuff to do here.
Yes, let's visit the visitor center. Indiana Caverns. What a neat place for old retired cavers like me.
Yeah.
Boy, a gift shop. Yes. Now I got you that find the ones Gary wrote. He wrote quite a few books, so many I don't even know how many. Oh, here are the books. Oh, The Longest Yield. Yes, the history of getting the cave developed. Oh, Binkley's Geology of Indiana Caverns and Binkley's. 50 years under the sinkhole plain. That's a good long story of Binkley's. Yes, now if I just can find Gary, I'm going to get him to autograph it. I've been wanting this book since he came out with it.
2781.
You having a good day?
Are you? Yes.
Oh, I'm having a great day. I'm in the visitor center. I might even get in the cave. And if you get in Indiana Caverns, it's a good day. Hey, Gary.
Hey, how you doing,
Oh,
Dave?
just fine. Long
Good to
time
see
no
you.
see.
Yeah?
I just bought your book. And
Oh, well,
cashier gave me a pen and said you was over him. So can you
yeah.
autograph it for me?
I guess I can. It's kind of hard sitting here like this, but we'll do our best. How's that?
Oh, just fine. The best you can do.
All right.
And how many books have you wrote? I saw over yonder on the bookshelf 5 or 6 books, more than I can imagine.
Well, it depends on what your definition of a book is, Dave, because I've written 5 what I'd call full-length books, and then I wrote about a 70-page report on Binkley's Cave back in 1969, which could be my first one, and then I wrote a thing on the history of Marengo Cave, but it wasn't really a full-length book. So I started writing the full-length ones in 2007, and this will be my 5th one.
Did you write one of Marengo back when he was part owner of Marengo?
Yeah. It was just a little history, told about Willie Clifton and the speleothems, and I got married by the fish pond over the cave, so I had a picture of me getting married in there. So anyhow, yeah.
And now that you wrote so many books, what is it that you've learned about from this book on either cavers or how to do books or?
Well, I learned that it takes a lot of research and a lot of subjective work to decide who to include. I figure there's been somewhere around 7,000 or 8,000 people who've been quasi-serious cavers in Indiana over the last 125 years, and I could only include 350 or 60 in the book. So you had to figure out how to do that, and I found that to be very subjective, difficult, and I hope I haven't antagonized anybody who got left out, and I hope I don't have too much misinformation of what's in.
Yeah, I mean, the only information is what people's published.
Right.
You look through a whole bunch of guidebooks, and I presume you used the ICS database of library that Keith Dunlap has developed.
Yeah, I couldn't have done it without that, and Matt Pelzer's Caving podcast helped me with some of the people, main characters, people like you, and because you got more detail than you can get in a newsletter in that format. But but the farther back you go, it's hard to get information, and really hard to get pictures. I mean, there's a lot of people who started caving just 10 or 15 years before me and you, and it's really hard to put your hands on more than one picture, and it may be in a suit of that person instead of their caving gear, because nobody was taking pictures, and a lot of those people have now passed on, and there's just a lack of stuff that I would love to have to put in there for posterity. But
What about the new stuff? Like, now they just post on Facebook, and that is going to disappear if they don't write a newsletter.
right.
I mean,
Well, and they don't even put the name of the cave in here.
Now it's
I'm looking at
frowned
the
upon.
pictures and say, what cave is that? You know?
I used to, a few years ago, watch people post pictures and they named the cave, and it brought back memories. Now they just post pictures and it looks familiar, but I don't know
to
the
me,
name.
if you don't put the location, the name doesn't mean anything to anybody that's not a caver. So I don't know what the protocol is, but anyhow, it is what it is.
It is what it is, and it's
Yeah.
going to, next generation, when they start doing a new book on history of Indiana cavers, is going to have it more difficult, maybe.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this will be something that a copy or two will stick around somewhere, and somebody will look at it for 100 years from now.
Yes.
And kind of what I look at it is the ICS and the ICKC have a lot of information stored,
Yes.
but you got to do a lot of work. I had to do a lot of work to get out of this. Kind of be a quick reference guide.
I mean,
And then if somebody really wants to get into it, then the nitty gritty, then they're on any one individual, they'll have to search another source,
as my retired caving goals is to scan all my pictures and scan all of my cave maps and get them on databases of sorts for future references.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, when you, in this book, you'll read that I have a chapter called "The Big Bang of Indiana Caving," and it's kind of a play on words because the Big Bang started with the BIG, which is the Bloomington, Indiana Grotto, but it was like in the late '60s there was just an explosion of activity and high quality cavers that the majority came out of IU,
Which I did, but I was just at the tail end of that explosion.
You were part of the Big Bang and in there, but you were 4, 5, 6 years behind the front edge of it, but you were right in the middle. But there's never been a set of cavers or group of cavers since that come out of Indiana like came out of IU in the late '60s and the early '70s, and the quality of cave mapping and the scientific work just exploded overnight from being to where in the mid '60s it was, when you look back at what people did, it was almost childish and compared to today, but then all of a sudden the technology and everything took a big leap, just like vertical caving did in that period.
You documented it pretty good. I was thumbing through, and it looked like I have a few pages in here and a lot of photographs. I really enjoyed scanning the photographs. I wish I had time last year to photograph more for your book.
Well, when I did get a lot from you of everybody except you, but because
I like to be on the back side of the camera.
Because you're on the back side of the camera, it was difficult for a person who's as well known as you to find decent pictures to use because you were the one taking them all.
I always carried my camera through the cave with me. And I have so many pictures of Virgin Cave Passage.
Did you start out with an ammo can for your camera, or did you
start out? I still use one. Well, I guess not now. I use a pelican box now.
I was going to say, I knew you moved to a plastic box at some point, but I figured you're far enough back you started
those plastic boxes can crack. King barely cracked mine, saving my ass from falling. And the pelican box swung and hit the wall and cracked while my ass was saved.
But actually, when we started going in Binkley's back in 1967, and that's over 20 years after the end of World War II, but we carried all camping gear and I would say 60 or 70% of the stuff, whether it was a gas mask pack for a pack, or an ammo can for a camera, or a army duffel bag to carry your gear in, the majority of our stuff was still World War II Army surplus.
That's what we used back then.
And then, but then, in just a few years after that, then the technology just changed everything.
You know, Chef Forbes had an industrial sewing machine and made a cave pack. And I made one on that same sewing machine. And Tom Fritsch started and bought himself an industrial sewing machine and started Lost Creek Products.
I didn't know how that happened.
And the cave, Bob and Bob, and said, nobody will use these expensive nylon caving bags or anything. Everybody just use the old Army surplus stuff. So it took a while, but you know, Tom Fritsch worked on it and made Lost Creek a going project and made custom cave packs and cave suits.
Now see, if I'd have talked to you and had that, I would have put in the book about Jeff Forbes and doing that, and you doing it, and that's how Lost Creek Pack got started.
Yes.
But I did, those are those little tidbits. That's
one of my project's dreams is to have conversations like we're having now with caving friends about our life caving, our virgin caves we found, or our blowing up tree stumps and whatever, just little stories.
Yeah, well, and you start telling those in little tidbits like the Lost Creek Pack thing come out, and that's, I mean, that was a big thing. For years, Lost Creek Packs was what everybody, it was state of the art for years.
And Bob did not want to sell them because there wasn't a market for them. The GI bags was good enough.
Huh. Well, that's an interesting story.
But anyway, it's getting about time for closing, so it's great visiting with you.
Yeah.
And thanks for autographing. We'll tell more stories later.